बस होगा। आपको शेयर करना है भागवतम वास्तु शेयर।
We just read the verse. Canto 3, chapter 22, verse 34. Nishnatam yogamayashu munim swayam bhuvam manum yad vrinchayantu bhogana bhoga na shekur bhagavat param. Shubha, would you like to help me read? Yatabrachayantum bhoga na shekuru bhagavat param. What meaning? Nishnatam, absorbed. Yogamayashu, in temporary enjoyment. Munim, was equal to a saint. Swayambhuvam, Swayambhuva. Manum, Manu. Yat, from which. Abraham Shayatum, to cause to deviate. Bhoga, material enjoyment. Na, not. Shekho, were able to. Bhagavat Param, who was a great devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Baat ki jai. Thus, Swayambhuva Manu was a saintly king. Although absorbed in material happiness, he was not dragged to the lowest grade of life, for he always enjoyed his material happiness in Krishna conscious atmosphere. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The kingly happiness of material enjoyment generally drags one to the lowest grade of life, namely degradation to animal life, because of unrestricted sense enjoyment. But Swayambhuva Manu was considered as good as saintly sage because the atmosphere created in his kingdom and home was completely Krishna conscious. The case is similar with the conditioned soul in general. They have come into this material life for sense gratification. But if they are able to create a Krishna conscious atmosphere, as depicted here, as prescribed in revealed scripture, by temple worship and household deity worship, then in spite of their material enjoyment, they can make advancement in pure Krishna conscious, without a doubt. At the present moment, modern civilization is too much attached to the material way of life or sense gratification. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement can give the people in general the best opportunity to utilize their human life in the midst of material enjoyment. I'll repeat that. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement can give the people in general the best opportunity to utilize their human life in the midst of material enjoyment. Krishna consciousness does not stop them in their propensity for material enjoyment, but simply regulates their habits in the life of sense enjoyment. In spite of their enjoying material advantages, they can be liberated in this very life by practicing Krishna consciousness by simple method of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Before we speak anything, please join me in Mangala Charan prayer if your heart desire. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Ratavitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Svitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Vinamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyadya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Shri Guru Paramananda Shri Chaitanya. So I'm reading the translation again. So translation itself has everything that we all need to understand. Thus, Swayambhuva Manu was a saintly king. Although absorbed in material happiness, he was not dragged to the lowest grade of life, for he always enjoyed his material happiness in a Krishna conscious atmosphere. So, as we know, we are discussing, this whole discussion is happening between Vidura and Maitreya Muni, and Rishi Maitreya. And earlier, we understood that King Swayambhuva Manu had a discussion with Kardama Muni regarding Swayambhuva Manu's daughter, Devahuti. With complete discussion and matching all the qualities, they got married. So Kardama Muni got married to Devahuti. And then after marriage, King Manu and Queen Shatrupa, they came back to Brahmati, their capital city. And we heard from yesterday for earlier classes as well that that capital Brahmati was very, very prosperous. Why it was prosperous? Again, there's a Lord's role to play there, right? Because when Lord took form as boar incarnation, Para Avatar, when he shook his body, the hair fell on this land. So that is why, and the Kusha grass and Kasha grass originated from there. So that's why this land is very prosperous. All different kind of riches were there, right? And the Kusha grass also used for different fire sacrifices, right? Every verses maybe it also comes. So in this verse, so now reached, and when he reached, he was very nicely received. And the previous verses also describe that morning and evening they had different Shahnai and music instrument Prabhuji was mentioning yesterday. And also every morning, early morning, they will have Supreme Personality of Godhead's narration. That's how they were very living in a Krishna conscious manner. So here we understand, right, that typically happiness or material happiness, material enjoyment of sense gratification that we call it, right? In every class we heard, right? Give up material attachment, right? Don't enjoy material, right? Give the attachment. So Prabhupada mentioned that kingly happiness of material enjoyment generally drags one to the lowest grade of life, namely degradation to animal life because of unrestricted sense enjoyment. Now, just to emphasize this point a little more, we heard in many lectures of Srila Prabhupada about a saint who gave different benediction to different people, like depends upon what they approach, right? Changing the sequence a little. So if the brahmachari approached him, right? So he mentioned that what he says, Muniputra Majiva said, you live, you die now, right? And but when a prince approached, prince who's completely absorbed in, like, he's a kingly man, right? So he's absorbed in material gratification, he's completely absorbed in sensual activities. So for him, the sage blessed him, Rajaputra, Chiram Jiva, means you live long life. That's a contradiction, right? For one person, yeah, he's giving actually, blessings, but looks like that's giving curse that you die immediately. Another person, he's giving benediction that you live long. Actually, there are two more situations there. One is butcher, and one is person who is completely devoted, very exalted devotee. Right, so we'll skip that portion right now. So how do we understand why Muni is doing this? Because, you all know that for my purification, to the brahmachari, because he understood that brahmachari is still not involved in material happiness. He is nicely serving. He is properly trained to grow in, devotional activity, and he's completely serving his parents, his spiritual master. So he is not yet polluted, right? So if he die now, he's going to make his way back to Godhead, to spiritual world, right? Because he is pure, right? He have not exposed. Say that the time goes by, he may get exposed to material nature. So chances of him going back to Godhead would be less, or he may get degraded. But in other hand, the person, the prince who is absorbed in sensual pleasure, right? Because he is involved, his consciousness is polluted, right? Because his consciousness is polluted, he is going to be dragged into hellish planet. So there is no hope for him. So how much ever he wants to enjoy, let him enjoy, because after that he'll never get chance. He'll really be suffering. So that is a blessing in that way, right? So from this example, we understand that elevated soul, they give blessings based on our situation. So we should never doubt whatever they say, right? And also to make a point that material enjoyment do drag us down. Now, in today's time, typically we are, in general, including us, we spend a lot of time in eating, sleeping, and unrestricted sense enjoyment. Now, Krishna understand, right, that and Krishna within our heart, he fulfill all our desires. So all of us who are really, just eating is not just different. There are people who live to eat. Have you heard about this? And your colleagues and friends? Their consciousness is, annamay consciousness. They are completely, wherever they go, they ask, khane mein kya hai? You plan any party, any gathering with them, first thing they want to know is, kahan ja rahe? What would be the food, right? Veg, non-veg, everything. There are people who, for them, no matter what, they want to just sit, watch TV, sleep. There are people, you find it in your colleagues and even your relatives, don't want to do anything, what they want, weekend, slept. So they look for those things, right? And Krishna within us, because they look for those things, they have very strong desire to do those things, right? So Krishna fulfill their desire. And how Krishna fulfill their desire? Right? Because in this human body, how much we can eat? 2 pound, 3 pound, 5 pound a day, right? 10 pound a day. No. So Krishna gave us a suitable body, right? Which we can utilize for our sense gratification that we wanted. That Krishna fulfill, I heard in lecture, Krishna fulfill every single desire that we have. Small, big, right, wrong. Every desire is going to be fulfilled. But there's a catch. right? Because we cannot fulfill all the desire in the current situation. So first Krishna has to give us the circumstances and the qualification to enjoy that desire, to fulfill that desire. And then he will fulfill that desire. So in this case, Krishna may give us, huge body, maybe like elephant, who can eat, close to 300-pound average food with hays and grains and everything, right? Krishna may give us, bear's body. It says that bear can sleep 100+ days without eating, without moving, without even passing waste. He can just be there for 100+ days and do nothing, right? So if someone wants to sleep, wouldn't that body be ideal, right? So again, not trying to scare, but same way, we need to understand what we are. What we all know internally, right? When we pray, when we meet devotees, we have again, I'm talking to myself, we have a covering. But when we are alone, we have to watch our thoughts, because those thoughts which actually matters, right? They actually take us in a direction unknowingly, right? They say, right, if you want to judge a person's character, you watch him or her when you see when no one is watching, what they do when no one is watching, right? Says when you there are a couple of things, right? You give them power, you understand what their qualities are, like that. So same way, there are a lot, sensual pleasure. There are a lot of animals who can enjoy sensual pleasure much more time a day, many long hours that human can't even imagine. So this human body is actually meant for nothing. To be honest, we are not the fastest. We are not the most strong. The cheetah can run much faster than us. There are a lot of animals who have much more intelligence than us. If you type about that level, we just know how to exploit. We are not even more stronger. Come in front of lion and see who's stronger. We can only defeat them based on our artificial weapons. Otherwise, come in front of bear, right? He'll rip us apart and and without flinch. It's like, oh God. Right? So we are no. We have a lot of what do you call it? Pride in being human, but in reality, we have nothing. So all the sensual pleasure really don't help. So basically, with all this, understand that material pleasure actually hinders our progress in Krishna consciousness. And I was trying to find a verse in Bhagavatam as well to support this. I came across Mother Kunti's prayer, right? She mentioned in chapter 8, first canto, there are multiple verses she quoted, and one of them is verse 26. Janmeshwaram Shruti Shiviret Man Madha Puna. That verse, basically she said that Janm, which is higher birth, good parentage, Aishwarya, opulence, who has a lot of wealth, Shruta, who has a lot of education, right? Learned people, scholars, and Shibhe, who have possessed a lot of beauty, right? These are the major things that people are proud. They are proud of their parentage, their wealth that they have, their education, and their beauty. And nowadays, cosmetic industry is number one industry to flourish, right? Male, female, kids, old people, everyone is, just growing in that, running towards it. See, translation says, all these people with these qualities are intoxicated and trying to achieve these qualities more. They cannot approach you with sincere feeling, but anyone who is materially exhausted can easily approach you. She says that all these qualities, people who have all these qualities or trying to get these qualities, they cannot approach you. So, in support, Bhagavan also, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he also mentioned on 10th canto 88 chapter, verse 8. He's talking to Yudhishthir Maharaj, after Ashwamedh, after Ashwamedh Yagya or I think Ashwamedh Yagya. He says, the personality of Godhead said, if I specially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Think about it, right? If Krishna wants to favor someone, what he does? He deprives him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. Interesting, right? We go to Krishna and what we ask? Give me. Typically, our prayers are around wealth and enjoyment, right? Nice job, right? Nice family, so that we can enjoy. Green card, as Prabhuji mentioned. Why? So that we can live here comfortably and earn money. Earn money. Why we earn money? Again, for the enjoyment. So finally, all our prayers are around it. And what Krishna is saying, in order to show special mercy, I take away wealth. And what happens when I take away wealth? First, I become poverty, and then face one distress after another. So basically, Krishna says, I take away all the everything that you can enjoy, right? I give you distress to give you my special mercy. In the very next verse, verse 9, he says, when he becomes frustrated in his attempt to make money and instead befriends my devotees, I bestow my special mercy upon. Interesting, right? I'm sure you all know. Some of you may have experienced as well. Have you? I mean, you may have noticed, right? That again, talking to myself, it's my personal experience. That normally when we chant, we just chant, or I just chant. Sometimes focus more on the counter beats than the actual beats. Right? Kitne ho gaye? Kaise to bhi khatam karna hai? But when we are in actual distress, I'm not talking about distress, thora pair mein dard ho raha hai, ya, thakaan hai, not like that. When actual serious distress, right? We know that beatback helps, right? So that time devotees don't even count how much they are chanting because they understand there is no other way. Have you experienced certain situations? I pray that Krishna don't give you that kind of situation that you really have to do that way, though it will still be beneficial for us. We're taking holy name. But that time we don't focus much on count because we are completely absorbed in chanting. And that chanting elevates us. That's what Krishna is saying, that when we actually frustrated, we focus on devotees. We ask for their blessings, we ask for their prayer, we ask for their support. And that's the time we actually make progress. Especially we turn to spiritual master and acharyas. One small joke came to my mind that wasn't planned, but I'll just quickly say. I was hearing to Amog Leela Prabhu. He's known for his jokes, right? Dwarka, ISKCON Dwarka, he's the president or one of the senior brahmachari there. He's saying that consider, one devotee went to, on the heaven's gate, right? And wahan par, the Chitragupt, Mr. Chitragupt is there. And he says, tell me, what did you do? You need to have 90% marks to go to higher planets, otherwise you'll go down. He says, I chanted my whole, I chanted my whole round, nicely, whole my life. So how many years you chanted? 25 years I chanted. It's like, show him the video, how he chanted. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, what's the time? So we have all this, right? We may have seen, which sometimes we also do. We are headphones on, listening something, doing something, walking something and chanting, right? It happens, right? So it's like, okay, give him 2%. Let it be. So 2% only. It's like, okay, I serve. I did cleanup. I did this, and I got second initiated. I did DT worship as well. Show him the video of his cleaning. Say, cleaning, you clean only 30% of the area. You never went behind the chairs. Just in the front, you just cleaned up. DT worship also, you only worship when right time. Otherwise, you never cared. You never paid attention to the details. I'm little paraphrasing. So okay, give him 5 more points, 7 points. So okay, I attended, kirtan. I did show him the video of his kirtan. Now half of the people fell asleep when you were doing kirtan, when you were giving classes, right? So how much? Only 10%. How much you need? 90%. So kya karu? Like, main kya karu? It's your karni, right? I'm just showing you what you did. He says, hey Krishna, hey Prabhupada, please help me. The moment Chitragupt thought, oh, you're asking Prabhupada for help. You're asking Guru for help. No, give him remaining 90%. Right? So it shows that our actual success is, it's a funny way to show in a joke, but that make us remember that on our own, we cannot do anything, right? So our whole thing depends upon spiritual master and devotees' mercy, right? And it's going on, right? Bhagavad, I mean, Kartik month, we talk about two things, right? Two angle shot. What we fail to understand is Krishna's mercy comes when Guru and devotees' mercy comes, right? We cannot change Krishna's plan, right? This says if you want to make Krishna laugh, just tell him your plan. You don't know about what's going to happen after 5 minutes. You are thinking about 5-year, 10-year plan. But if devotees' mercy is there, then Krishna's mercy automatically gets in. We may have noticed, right? Whenever we pray for ourselves, nothing happens, but someone else prays for us, things do happen because the devotees pray sincerely, right? So I don't know why I diverted, but it came to my mind, so thought of sharing. But so, we're talking about, because of our bad sensual enjoyment propensity, we go down to animal kingdom, right? Not only animal kingdom, we go down to even tree, which is even more lower than the animal kingdom, right? Kartik month, right? We are reading from, chapter 9 and 10, and then Nalukuvera Manigiri's story. They went down, they had to go to species tree, because they were so intoxicated, and Narad Muni cursed him, like, okay, you want to be naked in this human life, this human body, or this body that you are, it's not meant for being naked. So you go into species which is more suitable to being naked. So he make him a tree, though it was still blessing because he got to witness Lord Krishna's pastime. But the point is that we go down to, not only animal kingdom, but much, much lower, even hellish planet, based on our sensual enjoyment propensity. But Swayambhuva Manu was considered as good as saintly sage. And that's the catch, right? Because the atmosphere created his kingdom was Krishna consciousness. So he did both. Prior verse, right? Not only in his whole, just in palace, but in his whole kingdom, he made atmosphere as Krishna conscious atmosphere. So that is the key, right? Prabhupada later on mentioned that, basically it's a contradiction, but if we want to make progress, right, we have to take process of Krishna consciousness. And that the case of, we can take great example from Swayambhuva's Manu life, right? Though he's royal, he has every single kind of opulence. There's no comparison of what enjoyment we can have and what enjoyment he could have, right? He's emperor. So we have little bit money, right? How much what big restaurant we can eat? How much? He can bring the whole restaurant here, right? If need to, like from money perspective and power and strength and all this perspective, right? So in previous verse we heard, right, that in the early morning every day he used to listen to the pastime of Supreme Personality of Godhead with loving heart. So he made the whole arrangement to being Krishna consciousness. That is why even though enjoying material opulence, he was still considered saintly king. And Prabhupada said that's the same case of all of us living entity, right? Prabhupada mentioned people in general are able to create a Krishna conscious atmosphere as depicted here, as prescribed in revealed scripture by temple worship and household deity worship. Then in spite of their material enjoyment, they can make advancement in pure Krishna consciousness without doubt. So what Prabhupada recommends? Deity worship. Now, deity worship doesn't have to be only in temple. Right? There are some of us who are fortunate, who can come to temple regularly. Now, whether we make use of that opportunity on a regular basis, that's up to us. But it's an opportunity given, and beautiful deities we have. Very reciprocating, very merciful. So, most of us are Grahastha. Prabhuji is already serving directly, so there's no. But I heard that 99% ISKCON is outside the temple. They are Grahasthas, right? So for us, Prabhupada very clearly recommend involved in deity worship, because deity worship, or have the deity as home, whatever deities you have, but just involve there, because that way we can purify our consciousness. Now, one thing which always struck me, whenever discussion and everything, and I keep thinking, Prabhupada named this movement as Krishna conscious movement. He never specified any activity. Never said worship movement chanting movement, right? He says consciousness movement, because everything revolves around our consciousness. And consciousness separated from the activities, and that's also this verse indirectly mentioned, that we have to be conscious as to what we are doing instead of what activity is being done. Right? So Swayambhuva Manu is doing different activities which may sound like material, but his consciousness is Krishna consciousness, God consciousness. That is why he is considered saintly. And there are many, many examples we have in the scriptures. Right? Little bit focus, because deities are there, we take darshan of the deities, we bathe them, Shri Gaurangi dresses them regularly, we offer bhoga, right? So in that way, at least we have a hope of connecting to Supreme Lord in his Archa Vigraha form, right? To purify our consciousness. Finally, it all comes down to purifying our consciousness, one way or other, right? Serving also we do for, to purify our consciousness, not for, the reality is when we do service, it's not that other person is getting benefited. In reality, any service that we do, whether it's a cleaning inside, toilet cleaning, or offering aarti to their lordship, right? It's all being done to purify us. Krishna don't need aarti, right? There are 100 ways he can get what he wants. 100 is just a limited number. There is no limit, right? There's nothing that he want and cannot have. So he's not hungry for our aarti, offering nothing. We all know that. I'm just speaking, repeating for my own purifications. You all know that. You're all exalted devotees. But we do it for our own pleasure, to purify, so our own benefits, to purify our consciousness. Finally, all comes down to consciousness, right? Scripture said Maharaj Ambrish's example, that he utilized every sense that he has in service, right? Just a couple of his mind to meditate the Lord, he utilized mouth to glorify the Lord, and also to eat prasadam, his hands to clean the temple, his legs to walk to the holy places and to the temple, eyes to see the beautiful deities of Krishna, right? Nose to smell the beautiful flower and aroma, and head to bow down, his body to hug the devotees. So he utilized that. So we have Ambrish Maharaj, Durvasa's story. We know how exalted Ambrish Maharaj was, but he's emperor. So in that context, now there are examples given in Chaitanya Charitamrita as well. In the lecture I heard about Mukunda. He's Ayurvedic doctor. I'll go a little short. He's Ayurvedic doctor, right? So, and he's very expert. So in order to serve, lot of time he has to associate with very rich people, the Muslim kings as well. So when he's there, he's actually enjoying at king's level. He's being offered the royal seat. He's being offered, palatable food, and he's accepting, whatever capacity he has. So if someone sees from outside, he's also enjoying the full material opulences, because he's with king and he's at level, because he's serving them as a doctor, right? Doctor, we treat him very respect, because they are the one, life is on their end, right? So one time there's a small incident that one servant brought a peacock feather, mainly to fan the king. When Mukunda saw that fan, he fainted. He literally fainted, because he related peacock feather with Lord Krishna. Right? How fortunate, right? The blessed mercy that he has, that small thing. How many times we see peacock feather or anything, and we relate to Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, right? So he fainted, and later on king asked what happened. He says, I have some disease, epilepsy. In between, I just faint. He just brushed it off. He did not good explain. But the fact is that he had that purity. He had that heart to connect, things with Krishna. He see everything in relation with Supreme Lord, right? So, and in Chaitanya Madhya Leela, 23.29 actually, the verse comes when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned that he's talking to Sanatana Goswami. Even a most learned scholar cannot understand the activities and symptoms of an exalted personality in whose heart love of Godhead has awakened. Again, I'm trying to emphasize more on not the actual activities, but what goes in the heart. right? So in that, there's a discussion comes about Pundarik Vidyanidhi, right? Prabhu and everyone would have heard about. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always, call him, hey father, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, where are you? When would I see? So devotees had no idea who that Pundarik. In the lecture I heard this, they thought Pundarik is another name of Krishna, and because he's calling father, right? Why would Chaitanya Mahaprabhu call any ordinary person as father? Right? Father means he's calling Krishna. It must be, another name of Krishna, and Vidyanidhi must kind of his special pastime or something like that. That's what I heard. That's how devotees. So one time they asked him, like, whom you call? How can we know more about it? So you want to see? I'll call him. Right. So we understand that Pundarik Vidyanidhi was a very rich aristocratic king, like that level. And he had, full opulences and used to enjoy, right? So in the discourse, Mukunda was sent with Gadadhar Pandit to receive him because he already called him, and he very happily came to the outskirt of, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying. So when I'm going a little faster. So when Mukunda and Gadadhar Pandit reached, what they saw, that Pundarik Vidyanidhi, his arms stretched, he's in front of mirror. There are two servants putting his robe, his crown. There are servants, whose nice aroma is there. There are servants who are brushing his hair. There's someone cleaning his hand, someone cleaning his legs. So basically, royal king. He's just sitting on a couch. Now and we are talking about 500 years back, right? So he had all the servants. And when Gadadhar Pandit saw, it's like, we were told he's exalted devotee. And how come looking good is okay, but having multiple people literally intensify his bodily feature. Think about it, right? Even today's time, if you go to a place and someone, what would you think? You would never, I would never relate him, right? So that go back to this, verse that he says, even exalted, what to speak of general people, an exalted person, even a most learned scholar cannot understand activities and symptoms of an exalted personality, right? So he asked, what is going on? This Mukunda says, wait. And then Mukunda started reciting Bhagavatam verses. And he chose, he glorifies Supreme Lord. I think the verse he quoted was related to Putana's Krishna's pastime related to Putana. So even though Putana demon, she came to kill Krishna, but because she fed her milk, and typically mothers do it to baby, Krishna awarded her as high position as Mother Yashoda, being Supreme Personality Godhead, all merciful. So the moment Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard, he went mad. He started, removing all the ornaments. He, matted his hair. He fainted on the ground. After some time, he gained consciousness, and first thing he said is, more, chant more. And again he chanted Mukunda, and again he felt unconscious. Then, it happened multiple times. And then Gadadhar Pandit understood that though this person externally is absorbed or being shown as absorbed as material person, within his heart, he's carrying the pure love of Godhead. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, called his name, right? Then at that time itself, Gadadhar Pandit, understood, and he decided to take initiation from him actually. And when they came back, he asked permission from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and actually took initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So that was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy to show, who Pundarik Vidyanidhi is. So finally, it goes back to the same point, right? Internally, what goes on the devotee's heart, it's very difficult to understand. So we should never, ever judge anyone based on activities that they are performing. Now we can have, I heard that we can have a discrimination how much we should, so unless we are very clear, but we should not never criticize or never make a judgment because we don't know. Think about Gadadhar Pandit, right? He's very exalted. He's associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And he took initiation from someone who externally look completely absorbed in material, opulences and pleasures. We should never, judge in that way. Now there are, more verses in that context, but I'll keep it short. It's 9/11 already. But I do want to quote one small thing. Bhagavad Gita 8.7, same line. Krishna says, Arjuna, you should always think of me in form of Krishna. At the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. Right? The same. Think of me, have your consciousness on me, but continue the activities. Mahaprabhu also mentioned one of the example that, just like women in the village, right? Though they are carrying a pot in their head and they are walking. So actually they are doing service of carrying water. But in their mind, they're talking different things. They're planning, they're talking to their friends, the next lady who's walking. And so their mind is somewhere else. They're conscious somewhere else. But in activity, so someone looks, they're carrying pot, but their other activities are also they're doing in their heart. So when your activity is dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt, right? This instruction to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. The Lord does not say that one should give up his prescribed duties. In fact, he asked Arjuna, you're talking about going into forest and meditating, give up, don't do that. Stay here and fight because that's your duty. One can continue them and at the same time think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. This will free one from material contamination and engage the mind and intelligence in Krishna. By chanting Krishna's name, one will be transferred to the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, without a doubt. That's Prabhupada's promise. Whatever at the end of his life, just the same chapter, just before verses, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attain my nature. Of this, there is no doubt. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. That's again similar. Verse 5, 6, and 7 from chapter 8 Bhagavad Gita. So the most important thing that Prabhupada mentioning is having faith in Krishna, chanting his name, right? Doing deity worship to purify consciousness, and that will save us from going down. It will elevate us. And I cannot close today's talks without mentioning the practical application that many of us just witnessed yesterday. Her Grace Nayan Sundari Mataji, she left her body. I have no qualification to glorify, but just for my purification. Whole life we want, I heard in a very, offline conversation from senior devotees, right? That's the only reason, right? We constantly chant and do service so that our consciousness is pure and we can take or we can remember Krishna at the time of passing away from this material world. And we also serve acharyas and gurus, and they promise that, and Krishna, Prabhupada also mentioned, and Krishna also said, even, lecture that even though you don't remember, I will come, right? And remind you. And that is combination of that, many of us witnessed yesterday. She left the body when people around her, devotees, very sincere senior devotees around her, were chanting with full faith, with full, I don't know what the right word is, full intensity to pray for her. No, devotees praying for her, right? A Siksha Guru, Yugal Kishore Prabhu was there, right? Bedside, Prabhuji offered garland, all the Maha was offered garland, jewelry, cloth, Charan Tulsi, Radha Kund water. Every possible auspicious thing was offered to her by her Siksha Guru. And her spiritual master was there, constantly watching, chanting, praying for her, right? So in that state, amongst the, full, surrounding Krishna's chanting and his name, she left the body. After that, Maharaj did say, right, 555 nurse examined, and she confirmed that she left the body, and she said time of death is 5:55. And I have a recording of Maharaj. I just audio recorded what Maharaj said right after. And Maharaj said that she's been taken by Srila Prabhupada and Radha Gopi Chand Vallabh. So what a glorious passing away. We all have to leave, right? One day, tomorrow, day after, 1 month, 1 year, 10 year, whatever. But passing away in the midst of devotees when everyone is chanting for her well-being, her spiritual well-being, midst of her, and they have senior sannyasi, spiritual master there with Prabhupada's blessings. Maharaj actually chanted for her, saying, quoting Prabhupada, yeah, that you are under shelter of Prabhupada. So in that state, she left body. So how many people we know of that glorious pastime, and it's only was possible because she served the deities, she served devotees, she served spiritual master, right? And as Prabhupada mentioned uh, in the translation and also on purport, I'll read the last line of purport. And again, Mataji, wife, as mother, friend, so she had material opulences as well. But say they can be liberated in this very life by practicing Krishna consciousness by simple method of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. That is what Prabhupada mentioned. With that, I'll take my rightful place or keep chat. But I do like to encourage you to please point out my mistake or any corrections you may have noticed or something that I have missed in this wonderful instruction of Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, what? I am practicing and I'm still struggling. So on the Zoom of someone not here, Prabhuji, I'm just repeating what he said for the Zoom. Please. So Nandiketan Prabhu kind of brought a point that, a lot of time, before coming to Krishna consciousness, having wealth is different, but while practicing also, there could be situations where, someone received a lot of wealth. Let's say someone gave up everything and joined full time, but their investment paid off or something like that. They inherited some money from their ancestor, or am I in the right direction? So, what happens? Then he also gave, example that some devotees who had that situation, they gave up everything for whatever they earned. They consider that Krishna gave them, they give back to the movement and, and the process.
What is the answer? We have to-
Kind of he asked question how to handle, but he also gave the answer. Again, I don't have that realization, but from Yugal Kishore Prabhu, I mentioned, actually, why don't, Prabhuji, I requested for correction. Question is supposed to go. Oh, I mean, I heard from Yugal Kishore Prabhu, and he, in multiple occasions, that whenever we get wealth, we should always analyze, we should ask, Lakshmi, Mother Sita, are you entering as you came to Ayodhya, or you're entering as you went to Lanka? Because when she came, Sita ji came as, in Lanka, when in Ayodhya, everything was prosperous. But when she entered into Lanka, everything got destroyed. Right? So we always have to be very careful. The by means what is being earned, and we have to watch our consciousness. That's right. When no one is watching us, we need to watch our thoughts. What's happening? So in the same context, I would. Yes.
And actually, I was very in my mind that he spoke. I actually made notes. And
Now you're embarrassing me, Prabhu.
and no, let me finish. So my comment is that when someone is very humble and very sincere, especially with the shelter of divinity, then it's not really impossible. And I didn't like the point about Krishna, especially how he takes away everything. And then only a devotee can be that for that way. I can see also that the conscious of Krishna, not the activity. So if you can comment something conscious of activity, because many times we doing activity, how do we conscious of Krishna also be conscious of the activity also, and like for example, if we are what even though when we're chanting or we do and I have so many things to do one after one, so I have to see the time and I have to see that we can not complete activity in the complete time means I mean at least I am convinced that I'm not properly, I'm not doing properly like this, space now. So how to make sure that we have to keep the time, we have to be we have to be effective, but at the same time, the conscious of it, how to do it.
So this is one of those situations, I say that you have to ask a question, and you have to come here and give the answer as well.
I think what you heard about this.
I heard from devotees here in this congregation itself, the devotee that I actually admire and really respect from their purity and their knowledge and everything. They mentioned that they get inspiration from you. Tell me if I'm saying anything wrong. Prabhuji, I chant, they know I chant late. Somehow I finish my rounds, so I'm not the right person. Repeating the same. I mean, on Zoom, Sham Kishore Prabhu is actually asking that he, how to improve the right, how to chant the right way, or how to improve the absorption in chanting. Yeah.
You already answered the question.
Sorry, Prabhuji?
Yeah. You said he is the right person to answer.
Yes. Jay. See, now it's confirmed by Yogesh. Prabhuji, how, we take inspiration from you and Prabhuji. So how can,
So his question is how to improve the chanting?
how to improve the absorption in chanting or in any activity, any devotional activities?
First of all, we should understand we need to have sambandha jnana. We need to, sambandha jnana means we need to realize we are not this body. I mean, at least understand theoretically we are not the body, but we are a spirit soul. Second thing is, like yesterday, I'm sure many devotees watched, I'm sure, their sadhana will definitely become better. Or at least they'll try to focus, on, they try to make their, definitely sadhana better, because when you see something, hearing is different, experience is different. We all did practical, right? In the sense, you learn Monday to Thursday theory, but Friday you'll go to lab and do the practical. So in our community, we never had any practical till this day, especially in ladies front. Everyone is young here, but yesterday people had an experience, with live actually, telling, birth old is this and that, birth old is this and that. What is death? What is leaving the body? Who will come with us? We have a hope and faith. No, my money will work. That's how my works actually. Krishna says, pasyati apasyati. You see, but you don't see. So many people, Corona has claimed. But no, they're all my relatives, 15 relatives gone, 10 relatives gone, 5 relatives gone. My father gone, my mother gone, but I will not go. So what is Krishna telling? Pasyati apasyati. This, somewhere in the mind, somewhere in the corner of the mind, we are telling ourselves, no, my money will save me, my intelligence will save me, my ego will save me, and nothing will save. Holy name will save. If actually Gauranga Prabhu would say every day, what is that? No other way, early morning. I said, Prabhuji, why are you telling? Because our mind always says there is some way for us. Holy name is not the only way. There is some way for me. No, there is no other way. There is no other way other than chanting the holy name. This knowledge, either you see from you learn from others, or see from others, or the worst thing is, of course, you have to experience. That is the worst thing. But at least if we hear from others' experience or see from others' experience, I'm sure yesterday, many people watched it, what it is all about, and then you will take shelter. You'll take shelter. There is no other way. This is the only way. You said in the class, Prabhupada grace. What can we do? In our chanting, we go 100 times, it goes away. Kaliga mentality, Kaliga memories, Kaliga conditioned souls we are. So we are all mercy case. Indrajan Maharaj says that. So then what happens? Become humble. This should not make you frustrating. No, this should not make you frustrated. When I accept our limitation, we become humble. Then go forward. Actually, I'll tell you, I've seen people taking prasad. They don't watch me come. That much absorption, because it is giving you pleasure. You said in the class, it's Annamaya, the lowest. So, but when it comes to chanting, or when it comes to doing service, not interested. That is our conditioning. Why are we stuck in this world? So we should have what is that? Continuously again and again listen. There is no other way. This is the only way. Probably people will join full time also. Their Grosthar Ramachar. When there are so many Grosthas doing full time in ISKCON actually. Because Grace flowed in their lives, or they realized at least some or other. So then, yes, you'll put your heart. This will come. This is the only thing that will come with us. Nothing, nobody, including my body. Body will not come. I gave you a book. You remember? I showed you a picture. Janaki had ashes. They were just throwing the ashes. That is my memory, actually. Everything will be ashes. Everything will be ashes. By everything in the sense, the body. Whatever we have enjoyed fondly, the hair, what is that? The panchendriyas, the nose, eyes, tongue, lips, whatever, skin. Everything just a bunch of, a pot of ashes. That's it. When we realize that there is no other way, this is the only way, we'll come out of that laziness and we become serious. Seriousness, not tomorrow, today. At least we make an attempt. Yes, still mind will take us away because this is metal energy. Radhana Swami says this is Krishna's metal energy. Krishna has given her power. That power was given to her. She has infinite power. Why? Krishna is infinite. Krishna has given that power to her. That's what I can tell. I have to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Panchakalpatarusha kripa sindhubhya evascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
There are no
Thank you,
questions.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Recommending